Want to get a head start when starting out in Soulmask? Well, tune in today because I'm going to be sharing with you some of my top beginner tips for people on the game of Soulmask. So let's get into it. Hello everybody, my name's Kiahonfire. We're going to get straight into this one and we're going to start off with tip number 1. My first tip is farming ancient ruin for green crystals. This is because in the game of Soulmask, you have the mask. This mask gives you different abilities and it gives you things like making your crafting better, making your damage better. It does all sorts of things like healing you, being able to train more tribesmen. Yes, you can actually have your very own tribesmen in this game. It just enables a whole lot. It is like the main purpose of the game, so this is really important. And basically around the starter area, you're going to see a bunch of these places called Ancient Ruin. They're usually filled with beasts. Sometimes they're filled with people. And when you go to them, you're going to fight off like a few mobs, maybe some dogs, maybe some tapirs, maybe something else. And then once you've defeated those, you should find a chest in the ruin which you can unlock and obtain some green crystals. You're going to want to make sure you farm a bunch of these because it's going to allow you to unlock certain abilities in your mask if you click on the T menu. Farming these boxes will also give you something called Sunstone, and Sunstone allows you to replenish your mask energy when you need it. This allows you to fast travel around the map and deter people. This is kind of an extension onto tip number 1, but tip number 2 is to go to Golden Ruins in the starter area because this allows you to unlock the ability called Control, which allows you to train NPCs, which you can find on your mask. This is usually under the T key if you're using a keyboard. This ability also allows you to basically transform yourself into the people you've trained. So it's insanely cool. It is a massive mechanic in Soulmask, and basically it is really good because it allows you to be a better statted person than your base character, because your base character is like very minimal. But if you can transform into different tribesmen, well, they have a whole host of different abilities we'll talk about in a minute. My next tip is scouts open up more of the map. You might join Soulmask and you'll look at the map and you'll be like, is this it? Trust me, it is not it. The map is absolutely massive and there is so much to do in this game. However, the way you unlock the Fog of War on this map is really actually cool. I wish more games would do it because honestly it feels very rewarding to do. It gives you something to do and it's really cool. I really enjoyed it in my first playthrough and all the playthroughs throughout. Basically what you gotta do, you're looking for camps that say that they are scout camps or they have a scout in them. And when you find this camp, you do not want to kill the scout. You want to do the same as you were if you were going to go and tame somebody by getting them really low in health, and then you can deter the scout and that transfers the map knowledge into your brain. So basically once you've done that, it unlocks a big section of the map and then you can see all that's on that section of the map and a few pointers. It won't show everything. You will have to do some adventuring and discover things like ancient ruins and such, but it will give you a good head start. There are tons of scouts on the map. Enjoy that mechanic. It is insanely cool, but that is how you unlock more of it. My next tip is going to be really, well, simple. Do the tutorial. Yes, you heard that right. That is a thing. That will help you a lot in this game as it gives you good pointers on where to go and what to do to progress yourself. More so than just the average tutorial of WASD to move and moving your mouse to move the camera. It gives you some tips like telling you where to go for bosses, telling you where a big ancient secret cave is that allows you to progress your game and unlock more masks. It tells you things like that, okay? And if you've already done bits on this tutorial, you can actually skip them. You can skip parts of the tutorial, which is really handy. And I will say with the tutorial, if you do the bits, it gives you additional XP, which is always really nice. So yeah, don't skip out on it, or there is an option you can absolutely skip out on it. It just won't be as intuitive. But with this game, and this is how I pretty much started out in this game, I was basically just blundering around trying to find things to do and live and survive, and I pretty much could figure things out myself. The tutorial is just a nice added extra, and I do recommend having a look at it, and if you get bored of it, then just go and play and do whatever you want to do, isn't it? My next tip is bonfires protect your base, and they do a really good job of it. So basically, when you put a bonfire down, it makes a big circle that you can build in where your buildings will be protected from decay. Much like Rust's TC, you want to fuel this to make sure your buildings do not decay and the campfire doesn't turn off, because to keep them protected, you have to keep the campfire on. Now, this is not just it with the whole bonfire system. If you actually take the time to make better bonfires, such as bronze, iron, steel, etc., they actually can burn better things, such as charcoal, which you can make in a kiln using things like branches. So instead of putting branches straight in your bonfire, you can make it into charcoal, and it will burn a lot longer than just a basic branch will in an average campfire, increasing your decay time so you don't have to farm as much for the bonfire as you would have if you had stuck with a basic bonfire. So it's definitely worth upgrading your bonfires over time, guys. Make sure you keep an eye on that. It will be worth doing. My next tip is build closer to the biome edge for resources such as copper and tin. You are going to notice on the map that a lot of the starter area in the eastern section doesn't really have a lot going on. When you check out my map, all these little orange markers with rocks on them is mining deposit areas. So this can be your copper, this can be your tin. This kind of stuff is going to allow you to upgrade into bronze tier. So what I'll kind of say is, if you want a main base in the jungle, try and do it on the outskirts or the western edge of the jungle. That way you're not too far away from copper and tin, because copper and tin is really important to get you upgraded and get you past the beach bob stage. So definitely consider that. You can get way more resources all over the map as well. It's just that bottom kind of southeast section doesn't really have much going on in it, so you'll have to walk a lot further if you decide to live there. Just beware, the further out you go, the more likely you're going to encounter things such as big cats, and they can be kind of sucky to deal with, I'm not gonna lie. Now, this last tip, we've kind of gone over it, but not really, is deter and tame tribes people. They will do the work way better than you can ever do as your base character. You need to get into your head on this game that you are not playing as your character, you are playing as the mask, okay? So the person you model and make, it doesn't matter, okay? Having this character limits you. So if we go into our proficiency tab and we have a look, you're going to see all of my skills that I can upgrade. I am capped to 50, okay? And then we look on the right hand side and you can see 30, 60, 90, 120. Because I am capped at 50 on my base character, I can only unlock the first lot of perks for any skill I own. This includes combat skills, which allow me to unlock more weapon movements and cool stuff like that, which I can't do on my main character. I can only just unlock the first one. The other three I can't even touch. And then all of that stuff. And then, of course, with the main skills, you want them and you want to up them because it gives you more output on items. So you can make more bandages or make more metal or make it faster or it takes less. It does all sorts, and it's really important. So the beautiful thing with this is when you tame NPCs, they are not capped like you are. However, the perk behind having the NPCs compared to your main character could always respawn. If you die using an NPC by using the control ability, they are not coming back. But it is worth leveling them up because they can do things way better than you, especially if you unlock like a 120 skill, because then they will have a maximum output on everything. So really interesting to keep an eye on. The whole game is very advanced when it comes to NPCs, so definitely keep tabs on them. And if you get a good crafter with like 100 odd or 120, then definitely keep them. They are going to be really good for you. There's also another cool thing about NPCs in general, especially if you play as them to use them as a combat character, is the fact that they can unlock like a plethora of stats, and there's like hundreds of these stats. Now, some of them do come in negatively, which you want to keep an eye on, but a lot of them come in positive as well, and they can have like generic class ones as well. They have a lot to this game, okay? This being said, some of these can be extremely beneficial, making you take a lot more damage, making you do a lot more damage. having life steal, stuff like that, being able to carry more, being able to craft more. Like, there's a lot of skills, and it is always important to keep an eye on this tab and kind of read through what skills your NPCs have to see if they're good or not, because sometimes they can have really bad skills that could mean like they would get more hungry or more thirsty, or they're more moody or something like that. So yeah, there is a lot in this tab. Definitely keep an eye on it, and definitely make use of NPCs, especially when it comes to combat and crafting in general. It's going to be one of the main things you want to keep a tab on this game in general. So yes, that is a massive thing in Soulmask. Either way, I hope these tips help today. If you're confused about anything, make sure to leave a comment down below and I will try answering it for you the best that I can. Make sure to subscribe to the channel because I am going to be firing out guides like pew, 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 pew. I have loads of guides coming out on this game, so keep an eye on it. Make sure you're subbed so you don't miss any of them. And either way, thank you for watching. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.